Hi, this is Connie Mary Forrest. Today, I'm going to be talking about myself a little bit. As you may know, I have a bipolar disorder. It's supposed to be schizophrenia on top of bipolar, but I don't think I've ever experienced schizophrenia because I don't have voices telling me what to do, and I don't have the psychotic side of schizoaffective disorder. I just have the emotional mood swings, and I've had suicidal thoughts in the past, and I've mutilated myself in the past, so I know what that feels like. But not said, I just think I have the other symptoms of schizoaffective disorder. I mean, the doctor that diagnosed me with it said that because I'm deeply insensitive, that I'm schizoaffective, and that I have a whole issue with getting close to people, mostly men, that has something to do with my disorder, basically. Well, I think if anything, I just have like really bad mood swings from time to time. Not always, though. I mean, sometimes I can be pretty mellow, and it's not that big of a deal, but I can go from being happy one minute, the next, being depressed, the next, just totally upset about stuff, like angry. I don't like being bipolar. I also have ADD disorder, so that does tend to be kind of an issue for me too. Actually, more than kind of an issue. I really don't like having ADD disorder. I think the word retard is the most insultful word. I've had people pick on me in the past for having ADD disorder because they would see me in my special ed class and associating the people with special ed, people with issues, in other words, and they would misinterpret me as a total retard. And like I said, I don't like that word. All right, even if somebody is by definition that, I don't think it's fair to call someone that. Mentally handicapped sounds more, reasonable to say, but I'm not really retarded from what people have told me. But every time my mom uses the term retard, it really upsets me. Like, once, I went to this store called Brady's. It's like a convenience store. And these kids, they followed me into the store. They were just basically stalking me and following me around Brady's and just not allowing me to have any personal space whatsoever. And finally, I get into the section where you got the Debbie cakes, right? Well, they took them out of the boxes and they were throwing them at me, and they were chanting retard, retard, retard. And they finally got kicked out because one of the store clerks told them to get out because what they were doing was extremely inappropriate. But this didn't stop them from harassing me because they tried to follow me home. So this really nice old man in my neighborhood stood up for me. And he just told these kids to leave me alone. I don't remember that. There's nice people out there that stand it for me. But I had bought stuff from him before. Like he'd make these rabbits that you can they have these little wooden shit, I can't think. Brain fart. Well, you could put them in your yard, right? And post them in the ground. And they were really cute, and I liked rabbits, so I would buy them from him often. But he, that day, decided to stand up for me and tell these kids to leave me alone, basically. That's not the only time I've been picked on. I've been picked on several times. Like, there was this girl by the name of Alshie Iro that I had a serious problem with because she, I don't think I said anything that day to set her off. I just think she was just picking on me to pick on me. I was in a tree and I decided to come down and her dog pooped at me, her friends. I don't know, maybe it was her or one of her friends, but see, the thing is, she decided to push me around. She decided to beat the crap out of me and undo my bra. I eventually came back to my house, and my dad looked me straight in the eyes and he said, "Who hurt you?" I hesitated for a while. I couldn't tell him. I was so caught up in tears, and I looked like crap. So my dad knew something was wrong with me. It's like he knew that somebody obviously beat me up. And he says, "You tell me who these people were, and you tell me where to find them, and I will find them for you." So eventually, we were driving towards the ATM, which is right across from Brady's, and I see Ashley Igo and a whole bunch of her friends walking, and I tell my dad, "That's the girl who beat me up, and that's her friends." And my dad yells out the window, "You leave my daughter alone!" But that didn't stop her from the constant harassment. We had called cops on it before, from what I remembered, basically. So yeah, all my life I've been pretty much picked on for being different. You know, I always assumed it was because I was in special ed. But then I was always a pretty weird kid. I was like a Martian child. I literally at times thought I was an alien from another planet. Well, because I was so isolated and I was like sheltered. I hardly left the house, you know. So I was lucky to have my own best friend at the time that was my neighbor. Um, she would actually talk my dad into letting me go places, and she'd be like, you know, she hardly ever gets out of the house. Why don't you just let her come and hang out with me? You know, she needs some form of entertainment. You've been making her do chores all day long. I don't know what I would have done without her. I probably would have went insane, having no friends at all. Just being totally cooped up, having to do chores constantly. Basically, so that was like my experience as like a preteen, I think, because I was like 11 when I met Lindsay, and I was 11 when I was first living on I Street. But I lived in a house before I lived on I Street, basically. That was in Fremont. Before I lived in Fremont, I lived in Plattsmouth, Nebraska. And before that, I lived in Covington, Washington. And before Covington, I lived in Seattle. And before Seattle, I was living in California. Like Oxnard, California. We were on a military base. Military housing, actually. And because my dad was in the Navy Air Force. So. And I'm an only child, so I don't really have any brothers or sisters. Basically. I always wanted a brother and sister, but when my mom miscarried her last child, she decided to have her tubes tied, so she could never have another kid after that. It was just too traumatizing for her for some reason or another. I don't know. I really don't know how the whole story goes, but I always got this weird feeling that the child she miscarried was a girl, and that it was my sister. I don't know why I get that feeling. I always get this weird gut feeling deep down in my gut, and it hardly ever lets me down. So, yeah. But the fact of the matter is, like I said, I'm an only child, and how I always had this dream about having a brother and sister. I just tend to treat my friends like my brothers and sisters, you know? And I have some family friends, too. Like, friends that are literally literally friends with my parents and such. Like, my friend Shamra and her husband Jewel. We're very close to them. And their daughter, Breeza. Well, I absolutely love Breeza. She's totally cute. I love considering her my niece. Because that's probably the closest I'll ever get. Well, next to my friend Cherokee, she has a son. So that son of hers is like a nephew to me. So, and I've never had an actual child, but I consider my pet cat, Midnight, to be like a son to me. You know, like I know he's a cat and all, but you can still consider your pet like your own adopted child, for crying out loud. You know, what happened was, is when I first got into night, um, the very day, these people that were like foster parents to a whole bunch of cats, they'd like foster cats in their house. They were trying to get me to adopt a 6-month-old kitten by the name of Sophie that was a tabby. But she was so skittish and shy, she would not come up to me. She didn't like strangers much at all. So my mom just decided we could check out the other location and see if we have any luck with cats that are being put up for adoption. So apparently, we went to this, I don't know if it was a vet's office or a humane society, or, but I think it was like a kind of a veterinarian's office or something like that. But this woman who fostered cats, she had one that was already there that was free to a good home, and the other one she was just bringing in that was a tabby. Well, that day we didn't even really wait for the tabby. We decided that that little cat right there was the one that I took home. That was the winner, Minette. He's the one that not only won my heart, but she won my mom's heart. She noticed he was so much better as a pet. She realized that he was friendly and sociable, and that's what I needed in a cat. Well, considerably, I did realize I needed a therapy pet because I do get very lonely at times, you know. But the only reason I could get a pet and be able to have it in my apartment was because I got on disability, basically. Because of my ADD disorder, I can't function like most people can. I can't even sit for a damn interview without it going terribly wrong and blowing up on me, you know. I don't understand half the questions they ask me. Well, I think they were just kind of like ridiculous questions, but on most parts, I don't focus like a normal person. I have concentration problems. I'm not stupid, okay? I'm a very smart person, just not like, you know, your traditional intellectual book smart. But at least I don't think so. I'm more of a very insightful, very unique way of thinking sort of individual. And I'm often very creative and artistic. And have very original thoughts, basically. And, I know I'm definitely not athletic like my dad. My dad back in the day used to be extremely athletic when he was like a teenager, especially. And a father who's very intellectual, and I've always felt rather ashamed of myself because I can't be as smart as him. And then I have this ADD disorder, so I feel like I have a lot to live up to. Basically. You know, yeah, I'm not entirely the most happy with my life because it's a lot I like to do, but my self-esteem holds me back. Like, I hardly ever feel like I'm worth it to anything or anyone. I just feel like no one would care enough to really want much to do with me, you know. I hate my low self-esteem. I feel that everybody has something to look forward to in their future. You know, everybody has a future. I just don't feel like I do. I don't feel like that I'm really worth it to anyone. Now, when I help somebody, like I do because I'm an empathic individual, but that's not the only reason I help people. The reason I help people and I'm a good friend to them is because it gives me a sense of purpose that I hardly ever had, and I constantly feel empty. I've struggled with my emptiness so bad. And I would just try to push my issues away and not try to deal with them. And I realized that didn't accomplish anything. That just made me have problems. Let's just put it that way. But it takes a reality check to wake you up and make you see that it's not healthy to push your problems away. And that is exactly what happened to me. I had a reality check that woke me up. Rather really don't want to talk about it because I feel rather disappointed in myself for what I did, basically. But had I not done it, I wouldn't have published my book to begin with. I'd still not want to do anything for myself. So I'm starting to go through this change where I'm starting to do more for myself, but at the same time, I still struggle with my low self-esteem and still feel worthless and feel like no one ever appreciates me. I know it's kind of dumb. I mean, because all the people I've helped appreciate me, obviously, because I do kind things and don't ask for much in return. So, like, all the times I've helped out my friend Cherokee and would talk to her and be supportive of her and understand her in ways that other people can't, she'd often ask me if I wanted something, like, as simple as a pub, and I would often say no thanks. You know, and Cherokee explained to me that she feels that I deserve good things because I'm a good person. But I just never, ever really consider myself that much. Yeah, I have dreams. There's a lot of things I'd like to do. I'd like to move to Seattle. There's this house that I'd love to live in that's a mansion. It's really pretty that I've seen on this website. But all I do is sit there and daydream. You know, I'm afraid those things will never come and that I will still be stuck in Nebraska my whole life. And I'm afraid of that. I don't want to live in Nebraska. I don't want a pathetic life or a meaningless. I want a potential. I want a future. I want my life to have meaning, you know. I want to leave behind a legacy. I want people to remember me. I want to make some history, at least. That I want to be remembered for all the people I've helped. So, I will admit to that. However, I really wish I had healing powers because you see too many people who suffer so badly and it's just like that suffering doesn't go away. Like, for instance, children who have cancer. Why should they have cancer? That's not fair. You know, they could have such a positive future. And it's the cancer is stripping away their chance of growing up or having a normal childhood. And it's really sad and really makes me cry. I mean, it's like, why can't there be a cure for childhood cancer? You know, they die of these cancers. Some survive, are lucky, you know, blessed to survive from the cancer. But there are some children that die from terminal cancer. And it's really depressive. I really hate it. I can't stand the thought of an innocent life dying. And especially in their case, that they could have a future. They could have such a positive, happy future, but they're being denied that because of the cancer. And that upsets me. I don't think it's fair. Bad people can live a long, healthy life, but all these good people have to suffer and have diseases like cancer. That really upsets me. Why can't the bad, evil people get cancer and die? Like the rapists and murderers and pedophiles. Why can't they get cancer? Why do children have to get cancer? Why do good people have to get cancer? It's not fair. But I've often learned life is not fair. But, like I said, if I had a power, it would be healing. And I would not let people know that I was the reason that they recovered from their disease. I would not let people know that I had healing powers. I would hide it as much as possible. Because, for one, you don't want to be exploited if you have those powers. And for two, I want to be humble about it if I had a power like that. I don't want people to sit there and constantly think of me as a saint or worship me, because I think that's just wrong. You know, I just want healing powers for the sake of saving someone's life, giving them hope, giving them a future. Is that too much to ask for? I really wish I had that. Basically. God. And sometimes I feel like a cat because like constant, you know, mucus that comes up. I know that's gross to talk about. But it feels like I'm a cat hacking up hairballs sometimes. But I've always had issues with allergies to the point that I've had constant ear infections as a child. And you'd think it'd make me go deaf. No, actually, it did not make me go deaf. Actually, it's the opposite. I hear way too well. To the point, the slightest noise can bother my ears sometimes. I once walked through this area where this house had these things set up to keep away, I think moles, for example, because they don't like the certain type of noise that those things are giving off that are attached to the trees and planted in the ground. Well, I'd walk by it and get this extremely excruciating migraine. I was like, what the hell? Seriously? But as soon as I walked away and far enough from it, my headache would go away altogether. So I noticed the sign that I noticed that the noise affected me. Basically, like I did not like it. It just totally irritates me. But then yet again, Christmas music irritates me, and I'm not fond of emo music much either. I don't know. It's just the way a lot of emos sing that annoys me. They have that whiny pussy tone, and I don't like it. It doesn't sound like music to me. It just sounds like crap. I mean, I'm sure there's some emo bands that are okay, like Saving Abel. I can listen to that, and that doesn't bother me because they don't sound like typical emos as far as their music goes. But yeah. But of that and that said, because I'm a goth individual, I get really irked when someone can't tell the difference between a gother and an emo. Should be pretty damn obvious what an emo and a goth is. But there's stereotypes that revolve around both, though, when you think about it. Basically. I really don't think emos are all that goth. They just think they're kind of like made to taste like goth, but they're not. Kind of like an artificial flavor that just doesn't taste right. I think, put it this way, think of goth as being black licorice, as pure black licorice as possible, and then you got this fake alternative flavor that is made to taste like black licorice, but isn't black licorice. You know. I'm just saying that as an example. But yeah. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with emos. It's just, I can't stand the ignorance of people that can't tell the difference what a goth or an emo is. Well, and then there's ignorance that falls around goth individuals. If you're goth, people automatically assume you have to wear black all the time. Or you always have to dress in a gothic fashion, and that's not always true. See, often I will dress accordingly to how I want to dress. So I can dress like a perfectly normal person, and you wouldn't suspect me to be goth. Or I can just wear what I want at any given moment, generally. I mean, I have gothic clothes, but not all of it's black. Because it's a stereotype. Black, however, is just more convenient to wear because it's easier to come by, and when you're feeling like crap, black is a power color. So it strengthens you in some way, and it helps you to feel a lot better when you're wearing it. So it's like a color of mourning. Not mourning, but, you know, when you're sorrow and you just feel sad and you feel lonely, black is kind of like I said, a power color. Basically. But I like purple, so I try to incorporate that in my wardrobe. So it all depends on the goth, because there's a lot of interesting subcultures that are involved from the goth subculture, like cyber goth. Me, I secretly want to be, and I don't think it's a secret, I secretly want to embrace the cyber goth thing a little bit. Basically. I don't know why, I think cyber goths are interesting to look at. But I am more likely to wear romantic goth clothes, so I noticed that I have clothes that have a romantic or Renaissance sort of feel to them as far as my goth clothes goes, basically. But I'm still trying to figure out which type of goth subculture suits me the best. I guess I'm more of a, more of a I wear what I feel like wearing when I want to sort of goth. So like I said, I can look perfectly normal like everybody else, but in my heart I know I'm not normal. I mean, the moment I open my mouth, people notice I'm strange. And then I have a lot of weird ideas. Some people think they're unique ideas. And that's cool. Oh, like the time I was in that was a gas station store like thingy, and I was in there and buying something, and I was talking to the cashier lady, and I was telling her how annoying my neighbors are, and it was like one night I had this hoodie and I was trying to cover my face because I was so irritated with people gawking at me, because they still have that habit. They're notorious for that. So I'm trying to cover my face, and I get towards the elevator, and this guy's like, "What are you, shy?" So I go up to him, and I say, "I'm anti-social." Oh my god. I swear, the two young men that were in there, I don't know if they were teenagers or close to my age, but one of them, they were both laughing, and one of them came up to me and told me I was a character, and I made him laugh. So, yeah. I'll also mention how this one guy was complaining about how no one ever wants to talk to him. And he's like, I don't know why they always have to be rude to me. And then I go into the elevator, and I yell at the top of my lungs, "Because you're fucking annoying!" It's true. He's annoying. No wonder no one ever wants to talk to him. No. No. But yeah, yesterday I came home from like buying groceries, and I put groceries in the cart because they provide us carts so you can put groceries in with our apartment. Well, I get in there, and this guy is like, "Any free samples?" And I said, "No, it's my food. Back off!" And he said, "Oh darn, what a ripoff!" I gotta say that was a comical incident there. Trying to think of something else I could talk about, per se. Yeah, mucus. I just hate it how the mucus is like persistent, and I just get bleh, bleh. I shouldn't be doing that. That looks wrong. mm. Okay, well, what was I thinking? I guess I'll just cut this video short. Bye.